Keir Starmer humiliated on GMB as Star vows, "I voted Labour. Now I'm choosing reform." Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been scolded for telling the public to give more time before making positive changes to the country. A former Labour voter has revealed she is tempted to look at reform in the next general election after disappointment from Keir Starmer. Appearing on Good Morning Britain, guest Rhonda fumed, "What are you doing for us?" as they discussed Starmer's policies. Susanna Reid and Ed Balls welcomed Rhonda to discuss the cost of living crisis and her plans for the future when it comes to the next time she casts her vote, and she's admitted there may be a swift change in store. Telling the hosts this morning that working people cannot pay their rent, she fumed over the Prime Minister's request to give him more time, adding, "We don't have time. I'm facing eviction. I'm battling constantly with my landlord." Susanna asked her what her vote will look like next time, prompting the response that she will be looking at Nigel Farage's party Reform UK. Rhonda told the hosts that reform are for the people, asking what Labour are doing for us, the people who have been working here for years. She told Ed that she would hope that Farage's party would help with the cost of living, explaining that their message that they are for the working people shows that they care far more. Rhonda continued, "It's not about privatizing everything with them." As Susanna said, the Prime Minister had labeled reform's immigration policy as racist, asking if it would put her off voting. Jumping to the defense of the party, Rhonda added, No. I was born here, my parents were born here. We've always worked. He's about supporting the people who work here, the normal person." Discourse against Starmer appears to have changed following the last general election, with a new poll revealing he is the least popular Prime Minister of all time. The Ipsos poll of 1,100 adults in the week leading to September 17th showed that 79% of people said they are dissatisfied with the current Prime Minister, while 13% of people said they were happy with his leadership. This provided an overall satisfaction rate of -66. Following behind Starmer was the previous Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Sir John Major, both scoring an overall satisfaction rate of -59. When Sir Keir Starmer sat down on Good Morning Britain this morning, he likely expected a familiar round of questions, the usual grilling on the economy, NHS waiting lists, and the cost of living crisis. What he did not anticipate was a gut punch from a surprising corner of the studio, one of the program's own celebrity guests declaring, live on air, that they were abandoning Labour for Reform UK. It was a moment that electrified social media and left the Labour leader visibly rattled. The exchange unfolded with Susanna Reid leading the interview, as is tradition. Flanked by Ed Balls, she was poised with notes, statistics, and a line of attack that had already left previous ministers squirming. But the drama did not come from the presenters. It came from the unlikeliest of voices, a star brought in for a lighter segment about entertainment, who ended up delivering the most politically charged line of the morning. "I voted Labour my whole life," the guest said bluntly, voice trembling with conviction. "But I can't do it anymore. I'm choosing reform." The studio atmosphere shifted instantly. What had begun as a routine political interview morphed into one of those live television moments destined for replay, analysis, and memes. Starmer's eyes flicked sharply, as if trying to gauge whether the remark was rehearsed or spontaneous. It didn't matter. The damage was done. The build-up to a car crash moment. Starmer's GMB appearances have always been fraught. Unlike the stage-managed set pieces of party conferences, breakfast television is unpredictable, intimate, and often brutal. In the days leading up to this appearance, Labour's media team had framed it as a chance for the leader to reassure Middle Britain that he was in touch with everyday struggles. Yet GMB's audience is notoriously unforgiving, and today's segment proved exactly why. The guest's declaration was framed as personal frustration, rising bills, long NHS queues, and a sense that Labour has lost touch with ordinary people. Their choice of words carried the weight of betrayal. "I don't recognize the party anymore," they continued, voice cracking. "You promise change, but all we get is more of the same. Reform speaks to people like me now." Reid leaned in, sensing the significance of the moment. "Sir Keir," she pressed, "how do you respond to someone who says they have been loyal to Labour all their life and now feel abandoned? This isn't a politician across the aisle. This is an ordinary voter, right here in front of you." The silence that followed was deafening. Starmer's carefully memorized lines crumbled under the raw honesty of that testimony. Social media eruption. Within seconds, clips of the exchange were flying across Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. "Starmer humiliated," read one caption. Another racked up thousands of views with the tagline, "When even celebrities are switching to reform, you know Labor is in trouble." Hashtag GMB, hashtag reform surge, and hashtag Starmer humiliation trended before the program had even finished airing. Supporters of Reform UK gleefully shared the video, heralding it as proof of a quiet revolution brewing across the country. Labour loyalists scrambled to defend their leader, arguing that one celebrity doesn't represent the broader mood. But for the casual observer, the optics were undeniable. Starmer, face tight with discomfort, confronted by the human embodiment of Labour's electoral problem. The reform effect. This is not the first time Reform UK has been dismissed as a fringe party, only to claw its way into mainstream headlines. Founded on the bones of the Brexit Party, it has tapped into discontent on issues like immigration, taxation, and distrust of Westminster elites. For many voters, especially in regions Labour once considered safe, Reform offers a voice of rebellion. That a well-known public figure chose Good Morning Britain, one of the most watched breakfast shows in Britain, to declare their switch of allegiance amplified the impact. It wasn't a quiet confession in a pub or a buried comment in a newspaper column. It was live television. This could be Reform's defining moment, one political analyst told viewers later in the day. Not because a single star has changed their vote, but because the clip encapsulates a wider sentiment. People are frustrated. And when frustration is voiced on a mainstream platform, it legitimizes that choice for others. Starmer's stumble. What made the humiliation worse was Starmer's reaction. Rather than seizing the moment to empathize or reconnect, he stumbled into technocratic platitudes. He spoke of comprehensive strategies, long-term investments, and pragmatic governance, phrases that, while accurate, landed with a thud of political jargon. The guest wasn't asking for a lecture in policy detail. They wanted reassurance. They wanted a spark of authenticity, a reason to believe Labour could deliver. Instead, they got the polished detachment of a barrister dissecting a case, not a leader fighting for the hearts of voters. Ed Balls attempted to intervene, reminding viewers of Labour's record in government and cautioning against splitting the progressive vote, but the damage was already beyond repair. Reid closed the segment briskly, sensing the awkwardness. Starmer's shoulders stiffened as the cameras cut away, his expression betraying what no campaign strategist wants, the look of a leader caught off guard. Public reaction beyond the studio. Phone-ins to radio shows later in the day echoed the themes raised on GMB. Some listeners expressed sympathy for Starmer, arguing that politicians cannot be expected to satisfy every grievance on live television. But many more sided with the guest. "I'm the same," one caller admitted on LBC. "I've voted Labour for decades. Now I'm looking at reform. Not because I agree with everything they say, but because at least they seem to be listening." Others saw it as emblematic of a broader political malaise. "This isn't just about Labour losing voters to reform," wrote one columnist. "It's about a system where ordinary people feel abandoned by both major parties." The humiliation wasn't Starmer's alone. It was a mirror held up to the whole political class. Reform's gleeful response. Reform UK wasted no time capitalizing on the moment. Within hours, their official social media channels had clipped the GMB exchange, branding it the moment the tide turned. Party leader Richard Tice praised the guests' courage and invited them to speak at an upcoming rally. "Millions feel the same way," he declared in a statement. Today on national television, their voice was heard loud and clear. The framing was deliberate. This wasn't a celebrity making a political choice. It was, in Reform's narrative, the voice of the forgotten majority breaking through the media bubble. What it means for Labour. For Starmer, the humiliation is not merely a bad morning on breakfast TV. It is a reminder of how fragile Labour's coalition of voters truly is. The party may be leading in national polls, but leadership is not measured in statistics alone. One viral moment can plant seeds of doubt that grow in unpredictable ways. Labour strategists will no doubt scramble to spin the encounter, perhaps painting the guest as unrepresentative or influenced by populist rhetoric. But the more they try to explain it away, the more ordinary voters may feel dismissed. The challenge for Starmer is not to win back the celebrity who defected on GMB. It is to win back the thousands who silently nodded in agreement from their sofas. The verdict: live television has the power to reduce politics to its rawest form, not data, not policy, but emotion. Today, Keir Starmer learned that lesson the hard way. His humiliation on Good Morning Britain will linger far longer than any carefully drafted speech or campaign promise. The star who declared, "I voted Labour, now I'm choosing reform," may not single-handedly decide an election. But they captured something larger: the disillusionment of voters who feel unseen, unheard, and unrepresented. For Labour, the danger is not in one person switching sides. It is in how many others are quietly preparing to follow. And so, while the cameras have moved on and the morning headlines fade into the afternoon, the echoes of that moment still ring. Starmer sat in the GMB studio, confronted with the ghost of Labour's loyal past, and watched it walk into the arms of reform. The humiliation was real, but the consequences could be even more lasting.